Actually, the business environment has been very complex in the last 18 months or so. One of the very peculiar thing that people around are noticing is that business is getting more and more unpredictable. Business cycles occur in business, but in business cycles you can to some extent predict and prepare. It is easy to handle. What is more complex is if you can't even predict. In some situations there have been cases where it is just the opposite of what you predicted. To manage in that business environment which is unpredictable and sometimes just the opposite of what you predicted puts every part of the organization into a bit of little bit confused state. So no doubt it has been a year or a period of little bit of confusion, little bit of depression, some disappointment, and above all a period of struggle, mostly for most businesses. So two things I notice. One thing that I notice is that the digitization in general is increasing rapidly. Digital content consumption is increasing in different market segments, in different kinds of businesses by the consumers, and therefore it has a relevance on how marketeers are preparing their message and their proposition to be conveyed using the vehicle which is more digital. I think there is a higher degree of realization amongst most marketeers. The period of debate is over. It's now a question of how good a marketeer is aligning with that new reality. So that's one change that I have noticed in the last 18 months to 24 months. The second change that I have noticed is that the cost of marketing has increased. Cost of traditional marketing has increased. And because of the business environment not being so favorable, there are situations where the business growth has not been so rapid. In some cases, in some industries, it has been even stagnant. In fact, in some categories, the demands are reconfiguring. Digital camera, for instance, has an impact coming from not digital cameras, impact coming from smartphones. So you have a lot more business reconfigurations happening which are being impacted not by the competitors in the same category, but different categories. In a situation like this, how would marketeers handle marketing and at a cost so that the ROI is getting better and not worse, is the second part that I noticed, is the realization that is occurring in the last about 2 years or so. Even in the normal marketing situation, since the costs have increased, cost of people have increased, in India in particular due to inflation, the costs have gone up. How do we make marketing more effective? And how do we ensure that we don't lose competitiveness? The marketing has come to a point where it has a capability of not only adding competitiveness, but it has this whole nasty element which can actually make you lose competitiveness. And cost is one very important part there. Lower budgets, how do we create marketing impact which is stronger? These are two things, digitization and making marketing buck more effective are the two trends that I notice. So 2-3 things I notice, probably pertaining to all kinds of categories or most of the categories that involve people. One thing that I definitely notice in next year moving forward is that the business environment is going to remain challenging, which means now we marketeers will have to come with new ideas. The necessity of looking at a new idea, sometimes disruptive idea, is even more in 2013. Second thing I notice is that the consumer is getting younger. And I am saying this from Indian perspective. The average age is falling. It's not visible. Earlier it was only a matter of academic interest. Today it is a matter of marketeers' interest. The average age of customers that people are having, that the brands are having, is falling. As it is falling, therefore, we cannot say the same message as we used to say it earlier. both because the audience is seeing the message in a different fashion, understanding the message in a different fashion, and may find the proposition that is being conveyed not relevant to them at all. And therefore, I think in 2013, I foresee many brands re-examining their proposition and, more importantly, the message and even the vehicle in which the message is being given. The third change that I notice, which may happen in 2013, it is beginning to happen in 2013, is the way the experience is being provided to customers. I think I may say that if the era of the mass advertising or mass communication is not gone yet, there is definite movement towards getting more personalized or customized communication, and that's the reason why digital CRM engagement with customers is going to become more important. I foresee in 2013 brands which bring a dash of good quality experience for the consumer. When I say experience, the experience covers and encompasses all elements of experience, the first mile and the last mile and everything in between. From the time of how customers are walking in at the malls, on the markets before buying, how they are experiencing the product, in what way is the product being shown to them, same way how it used to be decades ago, or is there something else? I mean, we are used to, as marketeers, the same posters and the danglers and the brochures. Almost everything is the same. But if the consumer is changing, if their habits are changing, if the consumption of the content is changing and their behavior on that consumption is changing, there is absolutely every strong compelling reason why even that media should be changed, and we must bring in some more innovative way of how you can bring the visuals, the audio, the taste, and almost all senses as a part of the marketing message. Not all of it will happen, not all brands will adopt it, but leaders will. And I think those early adopters will probably get a benefit, an advantage of, like I said earlier, adding a competitive edge to their proposition. The other part that I see in 2013, which should make things different for marketeers, is in the form of reach into smaller towns. FMCG product companies are already in, but many companies are not. Many service companies are getting in, but I still see many technology product companies are not yet into the smaller towns. Their products reach there, but sometimes the marketing doesn't. And products reach there because, fortunately for them, the aspirations of consumers do not differentiate between big town and smaller town. But the marketeers' message and engagement with the consumer doesn't happen in small town, or if it happens in a very different way than it happens in a bigger town. How do we create that? Because that's our future customer base. So to what extent can our marketing message reach into smaller towns, and the engagement, more importantly, with the consumers to reach into smaller towns is an important part that I foresee in 2013 will make marketeers sit on the drawing board and begin to start thinking, planning, and even implementing in many cases. Products which require after sales service is the other area of concern, if not for marketeers, broadly for the business as a whole. And it is important because these service facility and service capability has to be replicated with the same level of experience, as I mentioned. How can you have a different positioning of a brand for a customer in a bigger town and a consumer in a smaller town? And the experience of service is an important element in your brand positioning. And those moments of truth, as we say, need to be replicated. For marketers, it's a big challenge. Promise what you can deliver, and then the organization delivers what has been promised. Now, between the promise and delivery is this bridge that a marketer will have to establish very uniquely. I do foresee the cost part continuing to become a challenge for marketers. Cost will be higher than this year, next year. The demand and the growth will probably be the same, in some cases even lower than last year. And therefore, how do we make our marketing more effective? You have no choice. Marketers will have to begin to look at innovative ways, maybe a different marketing mix, maybe a different media mix, or any other new innovative approach that they'll have to put in to make sure that they win over their customer.